Who was Anakin's dad? Well, a famous theory suggests it was Darth Plagueis influencing the midi-chlorians, which led to his birth, but while we don't have a good answer to that, we do know about his mom, who was Shmi Skywalker, born in either 72 BBY or 66 BBY, and spent much of her life on Tatooine as a slave under the Toydarian Watto. She always found the birth of her child Anakin to be quite mysterious, but loved him deeply nonetheless, and something interesting about Shmi is that she and her unidentified parents were embarking in a space voyage to the Outer Rim territories before they were captured by pirates and then sold into slavery. If only they had better taste in vacation like Scarif or Naboo, this could have been easily avoided. She would later be sold to Klieg Lars, who would free her from slavery, and then Shmi and Klieg would get married before she'd meet a brutal, undeserving death at the hands of a band of Tusken Raiders, which her son Anakin would have to witness, unfortunately, as well. The son Anakin, though, was highly Force potential, and would go on to train under the Jedi after being discovered by Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi in The Phantom Menace, and become a Jedi, trained under Obi-Wan after Qui-Gon was killed by the Sith Lord Darth Maul. Later, he would end up marrying the former Queen of Naboo, Padme Amidala, who is now the Senator, as they had first met when he was just a child. And Skywalker was known to be the Chosen one of the most powerful Jedi alive, and until he would be seduced to the dark side by Palpatine, where he would destroy all of the Jedi, and later in his life destroy all of the Sith, but more to that in a second. But that's how he is the Chosen One, because he destroyed both sides, creating true balance, and he would basically massacre the Jedi Order, leading a march on the Jedi Temple and killing all of the younglings and people within, as well as helping to secure Order 66 as the true Jedi Purge. Padme would end up dying of sadness after these events, and after Anakin also force choked her to death, who is actually known as Darth Vader at this point. Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa, who were the children of Anakin and Padme, as she was bearing twins. They were across the galaxy, and eventually Luke would come to the discovery, as would Vader, that he was the son of Anakin, and this is where things get interesting, as Luke would choose to not join his father, but rather instead redeem him, when he would then turn Vader back into Anakin, who would help kill Palpatine and save the galaxy from the Empire, therefore redeeming himself through the help of his son Luke, whereas Leia would end up marrying Han Solo, who she had fallen in love with, and they would have a son. In canon, they would have the son Ben Solo, who would become Kylo Ren, who was Darth Vader 2.0 pretty much, and would later turn back to the light side again at the end of his life before sacrificing himself. Now, an interesting thing about why does Rey say Rey Skywalker? I mean, biggest thing is, it just doesn't really make sense how you would conclude a 9-movie saga with a decision like this that just kind of feels like it was more hit or miss, and like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel good enough of a idea to just be the closing line of the entire saga, but whatever, we got what we got. It is interesting though, it might make that moment a little bit better, and you might hate it a little bit less to know that when Rey does say this, she is actually honoring Ben Solo, who sacrificed himself. Or so basically you can kind of just think about it, if you like Kylo Ren, you like Ben Solo, then this is kind of honoring his legacy there more than anything, rather than being about Rey. But they don't really present it like that, so it makes sense why it's so hated, other than the fact that it's just like really stupid. Now if we switch over to the arguably more interesting legends side of our family tree, one of the main deviations is Mara Jade, wife of Luke Skywalker, who was 2 years younger than Luke and was previously an Emperor's Hand, carrying out missions as his assassin, with her last one being to kill Skywalker, which was halted by the death of Darth Sidious, her master. Later, she would dabble in smuggling, and when Thrawn was rising to power, her and Luke would work together until they would eventually, years later, decide they loved each other and become married, with Mara's name changing to Mara Jade Skywalker. Luke and Mara would have the child Ben Skywalker, who was not able to see his parents much from many galactic conflicts and was for a considerable time raised by his aunt and uncle Han Solo and Leia Solo, not too different from his father with Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. His cousin Jaqen Solo, who would later become Darth Caedus, and who we'll talk about in a bit, actually killed Mara Jade Skywalker, leading to Ben having multiple battles with him, including one on Kashyyyk. During his life, Ben Skywalker witnessed the many galactic conflicts, including the war with the Yuuzhan Vong, as well as the conflicts with the Killik species and Abeloth, both from the unknown regions. Another person worth looking at is the great-grandson of Ben Skywalker, Cade Skywalker, who was raised by his father Cole as a Jedi and apprenticed to Woof Sazin, but would turn from this life as a Jedi when his father was killed by Darth Nihil and the One Sith Order, and he would successfully revive his master before becoming a pirate and bounty hunter, operating aboard his personal ship the Minok with Jeria Sin and Delia Blue. Caught between the Sith and exiled Emperor Fel, who himself was related to the Skywalker lineage on the Solo side, that is, he would be captured by the Sith and at one point seduced by Darth Talon, but would eventually reject the dark side and with the guidance of his lineage would destroy Darth Krayt and the One Sith before retreating to some place distant with his friends for peace at last. Our last group to look at are the three children of Luke, Han, and Leia Solo. Our last group to look at are the three children of Han and Leia Solo. One is Jaina Solo, who is not only Force sensitive, but also would marry Jagged Fel, which is how that lineage started, and was also a New Republic pilot that served in the front lines during the intense Yuuzhan Vong War. Jaqen Solo was a leading Jedi Knight in the Yuuzhan Vong War, and his constant quest to bring peace to the galaxy at any cost led to his fall to the Sith, where he would eventually become Darth Caedus. He would attend the Jedi Praxium on Yavin 4 with his sister Jaina. He would at one point receive a vision of the galaxy descending into darkness, which he was determined to prevent. However, after he saw that becoming the apprentice of Sith Lady Lumaya was the only way to prevent him killing Luke Skywalker, he would be trained by her and eventually commit multiple atrocities like seizing control of the Galactic Alliance, killing Mara Jade Skywalker, and torturing his former apprentice Ben Skywalker, mentioned earlier. He would meet his demise at the hands of his sister Jaina Solo, who put an end to his monstrous reign. Anakin Solo was the youngest of the three, as Jaina and Jaqen were twins, and was constantly worried as a child that he would fall to the dark side like his grandfather Anakin Skywalker, who he was of course named after. Ironically, it would be Jaqen rather than Anakin Solo who would follow in the footsteps of their twisted grandfather. Anakin Solo, however, was unfortunately the shortest lived of the three sons of the Solos, as he only lived to 17 after giving his life to stop the Jedi killing Voxen with a Mirkir Strike team that he led. Also, just so you know, we have a new spring drop of merch with 3 new hats with a smaller and more clean design where the logo isn't quite as big in the frame, and also you get Graduation by Kanye West, that album cover, but instead of Kanye, it is of course Watto, which is a pretty cool design in my opinion at least. If you really want to help with the channel, please consider joining, as that would really help me out, but yeah. Enjoy. So that is the Skywalker lineage. Let me know if you want me to do more sort of animated short videos like this where I explain things from Star Wars, as that is all I cover on this channel, even if there are other topics I'd love to do, but we kind of keep it all Star Wars here. Check out my other videos if you enjoyed and consider subscribing, and I upload every Friday, but yeah. See ya.